All right, everybody. How's it going? How is everybody's Tuesday morning? Good. We do have a special guest today. My daughter's in here, so if you guys hear any yelling, she's just really excited about selling real estate today. So I want to go ahead and get started. Give me one win, just real estate related, that you've seen in the past week. Just one win, and then we can move on. We'll get into the conversation today.
Well, I had three appointments last week and I have one official signed buyer agreement, one that I just have to have one correction, and I'm going to follow up with the third today again to see if I can get her to sign it.
Awesome. So tell us how you got them.
Referrals, all three of them are from the same one of my former employees. I don't know if we're going to get them approved credit wise, but it's a start.
It's a start. It's a start. Activity breeds results. So did you call this past employee, or did they call you?
She happened to reach out to me, looking for a housekeeper. Well, and I let her know, because things didn't end well with the former job. So I didn't reach out for a little bit because I didn't want to be weird. But she reached out to me looking for a vendor. I let her know what I had going on. And yeah, she's just been steadily feeding me people ever since. I think we lost him.
Oh, can I get a thumbs up from one other person to see if I'm frozen or not?
You are frozen.
I am frozen. Okay. That's good. What about now? Am I still frozen?
Yes.
Still frozen.
No, you're starting to move.
I'm starting to move. Okay. Okay, awesome. Let's hope this stays consistent. All right. What are you guys seeing in the market? What are you noticing? Any changes? What are you feeling? Are homes sitting longer? Are buyers a little pickier? Are they moving slower? What are you seeing? Good job. What I'm seeing is we are nobody's going to say it, but we are fully, in my opinion, we are fully in um, a very light buyer's market. Now, this is great for us, right? For those who was in, give me a little like clapping hand on the reactions if you were in the market in 2018. Give me a clapping hands if you were in the market in 2020. Awesome. So basically what happened was when we got into the real estate industry, this is what we were in. In this market, this is how it fell. Buyers were scheduling second showings, buyers were negotiating on contracts, and then 2020 hit. And it was really, really fun because we got to control our schedule. We got to control our time. And then 2020 happened, and all of a sudden it became a feeding frenzy on who can show me the house right now. You have 15 minutes to see the house. There's a line of people waiting for you. And if you don't like the house tough, you don't really have time to think about it. And you also have to come in $10,000 over list price, and you probably won't get it still because there's 45 other offers. Do you remember the line of people that we saw? That's the real estate market that we were in. And then people are talking about, wow, this really sucks. No, that really sucked because you were an order taker. You were running around with your hair on fire and you were constantly letting your buyers down by saying, hey, unfortunately, we're not going to get that house. And then they're going to put in an offer on another one. And guess what? They probably didn't get that one. And then they probably didn't get the next one. And then maybe on the seventh one, the one that they liked the least, because it had the least amount of offers, is the one that they got. What we're moving into now is a market where about 33% from our statistics, 33% of homes are going to expire or terminate. So what does that mean for your sellers? Because let me tell you the inverse of what that conversation looked like in 2020. When I would go to a listing appointment, I would say, all right, so what do you want to get? And they say, I want 500,000. I say, all right, great, let's put it on the market for 500,000. Do I need to do anything? Absolutely not. Let's just put a sign in the yard. We might not even really need photos. The conversation's different now. The conversation with your sellers is, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, 33% of homes are not going to sell in this market because of the number of buyers and the number of listings. 33% will not sell. We cannot try to see what we're going to get in this market, because guess what? We're not going to get it. We need to price our home exactly where it should be. We need to have our home in the best condition possible, because it's a price war and a beauty pageant now. That is the market that we're in, and buyers understand that, and buyers are going to continue to come in and negotiate. Does that make sense to everybody? Just give me a thumbs up if you're on camera. So for your buyers, this market is phenomenal, because now they have options. Now they have time to look at the home twice. They can really make a good educated decision, and they probably are going to possibly, hey girl, and they're probably going to get seller concessions. So it's time for you now to negotiate for your buyers. In the inverse, for your sellers, this is also a great market if they come in and they're willing to price the home accordingly. And they're willing to put the home in the condition that it is. Declutter, maybe paint some walls, get your home ready for the market, because other people are. This is still a very, very good market and an opportunity for you to really get ahead. In 2020, these top agents that we look at and compare ourselves to were running full speed. And it's hard to catch up to somebody at full speed. But now they're panic ridden. So you can come into this market, step on the gas, and close that gap between where you and the agent that you want to be. Does that make sense? Now, how do we get there? We're going to use magic words. So we're going to go through 3 magic words today with Phil Jones. Give me a like if you know who Phil Jones is. Awesome. James, anybody else? Phil Jones is the author of the book, Exactly What to Say. So his entire, sorry if you can hear all the rumbling. He spent his entire career understanding words that make people tick. And he also came out with a book that's exactly what to say for real estate agents. And we're going to kind of workshop 3 of them today that hopefully will, that you can use tomorrow to get you benefit, because it's what you say that matters the most. And the worst time to say it is this. So my number 1 favorite in this book, Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents, is imagine this. When you're selling, people buy stories. So I want you to pretend that we're a seller who's going into the market and struggling. It's an expired or whatever, or they're stuck on the fence, and you understand their motivation as to getting their home sold. So we're going to pretend this, and I'm going to use James as an example, and I'm going to say, James, imagine this. Pause. Imagine we get your home on the market at the 550 that you're asking. And knowing that 33% of the homes are not going to sell, we do everything we possibly can. You see that we're doing all the marketing that we possibly can. We're following up with every single agent. And in 6 months' time, your home is still not sold. Imagine making those 6 more mortgage payments. Imagine making those 6 more property tax payments. Imagine having to spend 6 months getting your home ready, vacuuming every single day, wiping off the counters, making the beds for 6 months for your home just to not sell. Does that feel better than, hey, if we go on the market, it's $550,000, we might spend 6 months on the market and it probably still won't sell? Which one sounds better? People can't make a decision until they can imagine them doing it. So when you say imagine this, you're forcing them to picture themselves in that situation. Does that make sense? Give me one example. Give me one example of how you would use imagine this, and then we'll move on to the other 2.
Um,
I'll sit in silence.
I
Go
got you.
ahead.
Imagine this. You decide to wait for interest rates to come down, but the house that you really wanted went to someone else because you didn't want to pull the trigger or something to that effect.
I think that's perfect, James. That is perfect. Well done. I love that. So imagine this. When you need to convey a strong message to your clients and you need them to understand what the situation will look like, imagine this. Imagine this. People love to be told stories, and seeing themselves do it accomplishes that quicker. Let me pull up some notes from it for you. It says people make decisions based on the images they see in their minds. So if you can place pictures in people's minds, then you can use the results of those images to influence their decisions. Imagine losing out on the property to a higher bidder. Imagine the look on your kid's face when they see this backyard. Imagine this remaining on the market for another 6 months. Just imagine the girls having their own rooms. Just imagine yourself in their shoes. Just imagine what it's going to feel like when a buyer walks into your house and it's impeccably staged. Creating pictures in the minds of others is done by telling stories. Just when you hear just imagine, the brain pictures the very scenario you are creating. Imagine this. Another one that I really, really love is super simple. Hold on, let me pull it up to you. Open-minded. Open-minded. So I started using this script and after reading this book, and I've used the same script for probably 9 years now when calling. And it was always, hey, if the price was right and the conditions made sense, would you be interested in selling your home? Interested is the word I use. I changed that interested to open-minded, and my conversion rate from contact to appointment skyrocketed, almost to an alarming, like this has to be a fluke. So we're using open-minded every single time in that conversation. The reason he says this is including the words open-minded as part of a question creates an incentive for them to want to be agreeable to your ask. The simple preference, how open-minded are you, followed by your question naturally makes your idea significantly more attractive. It at least makes them feel obligated to explore the possibility. Do we see how that works? People want to be open-minded. And when you ask, the question would be, say we're at an open house, and then we're going to have somebody else give an example, but we're at an open house and I'm going to say, hi, Jenna, thank you so much for coming out. I understand that this house wasn't for you, but would you be open-minded for me to send a couple more properties your way? And maybe we could take a look this upcoming weekend. Hey, Jenna, I know this house wasn't for you, but the one down the street, I know it's vacant and I can get a set up in a showing today. Would you be open-minded to seeing that property later today? What was that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. When we use open-minded, people want to be open-minded, and they're more attuned to your suggestion, and they want to be a part of that suggestion. It's a simple change, open-minded. Give me one example from somebody else that's not James as to open-minded. Just one example that you can use. There's no wrong. Go ahead.
I'll go. Hey, John Doe, I know you're a current renter and not looking into buying right now, but would you be open-minded just to see if you'd be qualified?
Love it. Love it. Would you be open-minded? People love and want to be open-minded. The last one we're going to go through is this, when we're asking for referrals. Christina got 3 referrals today from this week from a client. Referrals are driving your business. If you're like me, asking somebody directly for a referral is awkward. So instead, I'm talking to Christina. I'm going to ask Christina for a referral, but I'm going to ask this person for the referral. The question is, who do you know? Shift the direct ask away from the person you are speaking with and toward a third person who you currently do not know. This way, it becomes instantly easier to create opportunities for your daily interactions without being pushy. Each question is fueled in possibility and not certainty, using the words about Using the words like thinking about it, could be, maybe, might, and considering deliver more fluidity to the conversation. So, who do you know, Christina, that could be considering selling this year? Who do you know, Jenna, that might be considering putting their home on the market this year? Who do you know, James, that might be thinking about investing into real estate? When I'm not directing it at you and I'm directing it at a third party person, that conversation simply becomes easier because I'm not asking you directly. You're avoiding objection. They're avoiding telling you no directly. And it leaves the conversation open. And if they are interested in buying, selling, investing in real estate, what do you think they're going to tell you when you ask that question? They're interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate. But you didn't ask them directly. You asked a third party. So give me one example of that. We're going to summarize it and then we'll close. Give me one example of asking a third party.
I'll give you an example.
Perfect.
I actually had a similar situation happen to me last week, and I've got a customer cut because of it. So I was talking to a lady in my Sunday school class, and I asked her, she was asking me how the real estate market was. And I said, well, by the way, do you know of anybody that's getting ready to move? And she said, my daughter and her boyfriend are talking about getting married, and they've started looking at houses. So, because I was at church, I ran into her would-be son-in-law, and I went up to him and just said, "Hey, I heard that you and your fiance may be looking to purchase a home. I would love and be honored to be your realtor if you haven't chosen one yet." And so, because of that, I have a buyer consultation with them Thursday.
Love that. And would it have been harder for you to ask them directly without that conversation with the mother-in-law prior?
Absolutely, it would have been harder. Absolutely.
Awesome. So direct the conversation to a third party person. So to close, and then we'll go into ahas. Today we talked about the market. Very briefly, but the market. There is immense opportunity in this market. Immense opportunity in this market. If you look at the agents who have built extraordinary wealth in real estate, those top agents that are on the list, most of them survived 2008, 2009. We aren't there. We are in a down market. What we basically had happen, I'm going to paint you the picture of what we had happen. Imagine this. Imagine you're a real estate agent. You got your real estate license in 2020. You were making $30,000, $40,000 a year. And then all of a sudden, the market, you come in and you're making $200,000 overnight because every single person in your database is buying, selling, investing in real estate. It's moving like crazy. And that's the real estate market you knew. And then all of a sudden, there's a shift in the market and there's pressure. And your expenses in that 2-year window went from $50,000 to $200,000 expenses. And now all of a sudden you've got to get a second job because the market shifted, because we weren't prospecting. We weren't building our database. We were just using the people that were messaging us on Facebook because everybody was messaging us on Facebook. And you get out of the industry. And that doesn't make those agents bad people. It just makes the habits that they choose on a daily basis bad because they didn't have to do the number one habit in this industry, which is lead generate. Now imagine you got into the real estate in the last 2 years. And you don't know that market. And everybody talks about that market, but you don't know it. You know that I need to build a database, feed it daily, communicate systematically, and service all leads. Grow my database, feed it daily, communicate systematically, and service all leads. And that's what you do on a daily basis. And you succeed. And you grow your business how everybody else used to grow your business. And then this market's going to hockey curve up because what goes up must come down, what goes down must come up. And all of a sudden, you're in the daily habits of building your database, feeding it daily, communicating systematically, and servicing all leads, and you service your clients at a high level. And what do you think is going to happen when our database goes from 3% buying or selling every year to 6% buying or selling every year? all of a sudden you're going to call it luck. Your business doubles overnight. But you understand that this market, you keep your expenses low, but your business doubles overnight. And you continue to use those same habits of building our database, feeding it systematically, communicating, whatever, all the 4 laws. You continue to do that when the market climbs. So you never feel pressure again from the market because those are your habits. Because this is the market that raised you. A market where that's critical to grow a database, feed it daily, service it, and service all leads and communicate systematically. So you're not going to feel the pressure because this is the market that raised you. We have immense opportunity in it. We then talked about the three ways to communicate from this, exactly what to say. There's 25 in here. Go pick up the book. It's incredible. Pick up any of his books. What was the first one we talked about?
Imagine this.
Imagine this. Imagine you use some of the scripts that we talked about today and you pick up a client tomorrow. What was the second one we did?
Open-minded.
Open-minded. I hope you are open-minded to using these words in your daily conversations. And imagine you see the results instantly. And the third one we used.
Who do you know?
Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know today that you need to call and ask who they know that they might be interested or open-minded to buying, selling, or investing in real estate? With that, give me 1 aha, 2 ahas. I don't care. 1 would be great. And I'll let you guys go early.
Just that when you say who do you know, that is not a yes or no question. It's an open-ended question, and I like that.
Perfect. I love that. Well said, Jenna. Well said. When we ask who do you know, it is open-ended. Not, Jenna, are you interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate? She can just tell me no and the conversation's dead. Well said. Well read. Awesome. Well, I appreciate your time. Go win the day, and I will see you next Tuesday. Hold on, let me show everybody. And this is Collins. Isn't she beautiful? You want to say hi? Say hi.
Hi.
Hi, you're the star of the show. Thank you, everybody.